find our comfortable sitting position. No, not you, Shelley, just everybody else, not you. So having our little wiggle from one side to another, finding a little bit of space and concentration. Maybe moving the head around a little bit, nodding it out or shaking it. Taking a big inhale through the nose. And on the exhale, closing the eyes, tucking the chin towards the chest. Bringing all the attention to the natural breathing pattern. Just noticing what it feels like to breathe in and breathe out. Maybe letting the breathing get a little bit deeper if you've managed to find a sense of focus. And let's take one more inhale. And one more exhale. Let's blink the eyes open. Noticing that Shelley has decided to come and join us. Go down there, be good. Try your best to, right, we're not going to be good. So we'll drop the hands down beside the body and we'll do a little bit of arm movement. So we'll stretch them out to one side on a breath in, really stretching as far as we can, and lift the arms up overhead. Make a prayer at the top. At the top, we're going to interlace the fingers together. So we're kind of holding really, really tightly. Breathe in to lift up as tall as possible. And on the exhale, tipping to one side and a little side bend. Because the arms are extended, you probably won't go as far as you usually might in a side bend. It might be a bit stressy. When you fancy it, when you've gone far enough, inhale it back to center and exhale going to the other side. The same thing goes. It doesn't need to be super deep. The arms will sort of make it a bit deeper by necessity. Let's inhale it back to center again. And then let's release the fingers so that we're back in our prayer position. And then let's separate the hands completely. I'm going to take a breath in and lift them really, really straight. And on the exhale, see if we can kind of pull them behind the ears a little bit extra. Breathe in. And on the exhale, let's grab hold of opposite elbows above the head. Take a breath in and take maybe a little back bend. And exhale it back to center. It's a really small back bend. And then inhale, shifting forward a little bit, keeping the spine nice and straight. And let's inhale it back to center again. Let's release the arms down by the sides, stretching them out to the side of the room. And let's bring them back to center. Maybe give the shoulders and the arms a little bit of a wiggle. We're going to come to our tabletop position, so we can drop the hands down onto the mat, come onto the knees. We'll take a couple of cat-cows to kind of open out through the spine. So we've already done a little bit of that with our arm movements anyway. So this should feel a little bit more comfortable straight off the bat. So we're going to take a breath in, lifting the head up, dropping the belly down. And on the exhale, rolling the torso around, tucking the chin towards the chest, lifting away from the mat as much as we can. And inhale, lift the head up and drop the belly down. And exhale, opposite direction, rounding the spine, chin towards the chest. Let's take one more inhale, dropping the belly. And on the exhale, let's bring it all back to our neutral position in the center. So we're going to lift the right arm out in front of us, and then we're going to shuffle the left foot back, until we can lift the left leg off the floor. We're going to take a little diagonal stretch. So the very tips of the right fingers to the very tops of the left toes. Breathe in to stretch them apart. And on the exhale, let's return them both to the mat. Take your time making sure that you're back in pretty much the same position. And then let's take it on the other side. So inhaling the left arm out in front and then shuffling the right foot back until we can lift the leg away. Breathe in to stretch through the hand down through the foot. And exhale, bringing it all back to center. Let's separate the fingers out nice and wide and get ready for our first downward dog. So you're going to really push down through the knuckles. We're going to tuck the toes and we're going to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. You can keep the knees bent if you wish. Maybe you can think about pedaling the feet to start opening out through the backs of the hamstrings. Totally up to you which variant of it you want to take. Thinking about lifting the hips a little bit higher pretty constantly. Breathe in to lift up. And exhale, dropping the heels towards the mat if they're not there already. And if they are, maybe you can walk the feet further forward a little bit. Breathe in. And on the exhale, let's bend the knees and look forward. Inhale, step the right foot between the hands and the left foot. Let's grab hold of opposite arms, take a little sway one side to another. So we're using this sway as an excuse to open out through the backs of the legs. So let them straighten on each side. Opening with the hamstrings. And then let's bring it back to center, dropping the hands down towards the feet. Let's bend the knees just a little bit. And on a breath in, let's lift everything up to standing. And let's take our sun salute, Surya Namaskara A. Take a breath in, reach the arms up overhead, look up. And exhale, fold the hands down to the mat, bend the knees as much as you wish. Inhale to the fingertips, lengthening the backs of the legs, feel the stretch in the hamstrings. And exhale, plant the hands, step the right foot back and the left foot back to our plank. And let's lower it down. Your choice of how, knees first if you wish, tucking the elbows in. Inhale forward to our cobra, dropping the shoulders from the ears. And exhale, tucking the toes, lift the hips back up, downward dog. So we're back here. You can take whichever variant of it that you wish. If you want to bend the knees, you can totally do that. Always thinking about lifting the hips a little higher, gaining a little bit of extra tallness through the bum, lifting up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, maybe thinking again about pushing the heels towards the mat or stepping the feet closer to the hands. Breathe in. And exhale. Take one more inhale. And on the exhale, let's bend the knees, gaze forward. Inhale, step or jump it to the top of the mat. Lengthen through the backs of the legs, reach the fingertips towards the floor. And exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands as much as you want. Inhale, let's lift the arms up overhead, gaze up towards the ceiling. And exhale, back to standing. Let's take our Surya Namaskara B. So take a breath in, reach the arms up overhead, sit back into our chair. And exhale, fold the hands down to the mat, keeping the knees bent. Let's inhale to the fingertips, lengthening the backs of the legs. And exhale, plant the hands, step or jump it back to our plank position and lower it down. Your choice of how, knees, chest, chin, or through chaturanga. Inhale forward to our upward dog or full cobra. And exhale, let's tuck the toes, lift the hips back up, downward dog. Let's inhale the right foot forward between the hands, drop the left heel down, stretch the arms up overhead for warrior one. And exhale the hands back to the mat. Step the right foot back and lower it all down. Inhale forward to our cobra or upward dog. And exhale, let's tuck the toes, lift the hips back up, downward dog. Let's inhale that left leg forward between the hands, drop the right heel down, stretch the arms up overhead, front leg bent for our warrior one. And exhale the hands back to the mat. Step the left foot back, lower it all down. Your choice of how. Inhale forward for our cobra or upward dog. And exhale, let's tuck the toes, lift the hips back up for downward dog. So even though we've only done a warm up in 2 of these, the body should still feel pretty warm. We've gone a little bit slower than usual, so we've had a chance to experience more of the movements for slightly longer. So inhale, lifting the hips, and exhaling. Take one more inhale here. And on the exhale, let's bend the knees and gaze forward. Inhale, let's step the right foot forward between the hands and come to a high lunge position. So make sure that you've got the balance, pushing down through both feet. And let's inhale the arms up overhead towards the ceiling. Take a breath in, lifting up onto the back toes, finding lots of structure. And an exhale. Take one more inhale. And on the exhale, let's stretch the right arm forward, left arm back. So we're keeping the torso in its straight line. Inhale back to center. And exhale, left arm forward, right arm back. Let's breathe in, bring the arms back towards the center. And then let's exhale, fold the hands back down towards the mat. Step the right foot back to our plank position and lower it down again. Your choice of how. Inhale forward to our upward dog or our cobra. And exhale, let's go back to our downward dog again, lifting the hips towards the ceiling. Take one breath in here. And one exhale. And on the inhale, let's step that left foot forward between the hands, coming for the same high lunge. Give yourself a second to find the balance, and then rise up, arms towards the ceiling. Breathe in, grow tall. And exhale. One more inhale, lifting the arms. And on the exhale, stretching the left arm forward, right arm back. Inhale it back to center. And exhale, right arm forward, left arm back. Inhale it all back to center. And on the exhale, let's fold the hands back down to the mat. Step the left foot back to our plank position and let's lower it down, same as before. Inhale forward to our cobra or upward dog. And exhale, let's tuck the toes, lift the hips back up, downward dog. Take one inhale here. And one exhale. And on the next inhale, we're going to lift the right leg, bring it forward between the hands, and then we're going to step the left foot forward as well, but we're not going to meet the floor. So we're going to lift that left foot in towards the chest, passing the arms alongside us, almost like a warrior three. But with that left leg bent, it's pretty tricky, might feel pretty horrible. Keep thinking about lifting the left leg in towards the chest, dipping the torso forward. Breathe in. And exhale. On the next inhale, let's lift the torso fully upright, pulling that left leg in towards the chest. And on the exhale, pass the leg behind you. See if you can grab hold of the left foot with the left hand. Push the foot into the hand to open out through the torso, dipping forward and down, maybe stretching the right arm out in front for our dancer pose. Inhale. And exhale. On the next inhale, let's start to lift the torso back upright, releasing the leg back down. Let's pull it back in towards the chest, maybe bringing the hands to the hips. And on the exhale, lower that left leg to meet the right. We're going to take a breath in, reach the arms up overhead. We're going to sit down into our chair. Breathe in. And exhale, sit a little lower. Take one more inhale and one more exhale, holding the position. Breathe in. And on the exhale, let's float the arms out in front. So coming to our Ardha Utkatasana, our half chair. So maybe you can get the torso onto the legs, really reaching the arms forward as far as possible. Breathe in. And exhale. Take one more breath in. And on the exhale, let's start to release the hands towards the floor, straightening the legs, separating the feet out to hip width distance. We're going to lift the feet off the floor and slot the hands underneath the feet so the toes are crawling up towards the wrists. If for some reason you don't like that or it doesn't feel nice, you can go back to the variant of holding the big toes. That's absolutely fine as well. Whichever one you choose, take a big breath in, lengthen through the backs of the legs, make everything super strong. And maybe on the exhale, surrender the head, bend the elbows, let the torso sort of fall forward towards the floor. That looks amazing. Breathe in and exhale. Take one more inhale. And on the exhale, let's release the hands from wherever they're at. Rest the fingertips against the floor. Let's bend the knees just a little bit. And breathe in. Let's inhale it back up to standing. Reaching the arms up overhead. And exhale it all back down by the sides. Cool. So we're going to do exactly the same thing with the right foot, but we're standing from here, so it's going to feel a little bit different coming into it. So we're going to pull the right leg in towards the chest, and then we're going to dip the torso forward and down. So maybe notice if the balance gets a little bit nicer or easier, spreading the arms behind us, almost like our warrior three arms. So we're still trying to pull this right leg really closely in towards the chest, keeping all that structural integrity in the left leg. Breathe in and exhale. On the inhale, let's straighten everything up, right? Pulling that right leg in towards the chest and then dipping it behind, grabbing hold of the right foot. Take a breath in, push the foot into the hand, tip the torso forward, stretch the left arm out in front for our dancer pose. Trying to keep as much integrity in that left leg as we can, but we're asking quite a lot of it. Inhale. And on the exhale, let's start to revert back to our standing position. Let's lower the right foot to join the left, bringing the hands to the hips for a second. Take a breath in, reach the arms up overhead. And on the exhale, sit back down into our chair. Breathe in. And exhale. Take one more inhale. And one more exhale, then float the arms out in front, torso onto the legs, repeating what we did first time around. Inhale. And exhale, maybe sitting a little bit lower. Take one more breath in. And on the exhale, let's float the hands down to the floor and let's straighten the legs. Lengthen through the backs of the legs, fingertips against the mat. And exhale, let's plant the hands, step or jump it back to our plank position. And let's lower it down, knees first if you wish, tucking the elbows in. Inhale forward to our cobra or upward dog. And exhale, let's tuck the toes, lift the hips back up, downward dog. Take a breath in, move that right leg forward between the hands, drop the left heel down behind. Let's stretch the arms up overhead, coming into our warrior two position. So if you find that you need to move the alignment, change the legs around, go for it, that's fine. Take a big breath in, lengthen through the arms, looking out over the right middle finger. And on the exhale, let's fold the right forearm onto the right thigh. Swoop the left arm underneath the torso and up overhead, maybe gazing towards the left middle finger. And if you've got space, maybe you can reach the right hand down to the floor and stretch the left arm up overhead completely, stacking with the shoulders. Your choice, which variant of this you choose. Breathe in and exhale. On the next inhale, we're going to lift up back to our warrior two completely. We're going to shuffle the right foot out to the side of the mat. And we're going to exhale both hands inside that right leg. So we're coming for a lizard position. Have a look back at your left foot, pivot onto the left toes. Maybe have a couple of rocks forwards and backwards. Maybe you want to drop the left knee down. Maybe this is already a big enough stretch into the hips. If you want to go further, you can drop onto the forearms, totally up to you. And if you fancy it, you can release the right hand and use it to push the right leg open to the side so the outer edge of the foot is placed on the mat instead of the flat of the foot. Whichever variant you pick, breathe in. And exhale, maybe going a little bit further into your choice of it, if you've got space. And if you've not got space, it doesn't matter. Breathe in. And exhale. And on the inhale, let's start to return things back to center. So pulling the leg in if you've pushed it out. Coming back up to rest onto the hands, nice and flat against the mat. Let's tuck the left toes underneath. Let's lift the left leg and let's swoop the right leg back to join the left in a downward dog. Take a big breath in here. And an exhale. And on the inhale, we're going to lift the right leg up towards the sky. So getting a big distance, opening out to the hips. Let's bend the right knee. And then let's move that right leg forward towards the top of the mat, landing the right knee behind the right wrist this time. We're going to drop the left knee down and get ready for our pigeon pose. So it's up to you how deeply into it you want to go. You can shuffle the left foot back. You can pull the right foot forward. Take a big breath in, lengthen through the spine. And on the exhale, float the whole torso forward and down. Maybe letting the head rest against the hands if you like that. Otherwise, you can let the head hang in midair, totally up to you. And in our pigeon, maybe you can rock from side to side a little bit. Maybe you've gone too far and the stretch is too intense, or maybe you've not gone far enough. It's worth bearing in mind where you've landed for the second side. So we've stretched this hip out in lots of ways now. Between the warrior two and the lizard pose and this. So maybe when we step backwards in a minute, this hip will feel kind of different to the other one, and that's fine. We'll get them back in balance again. Take one more inhale here in pigeon. And exhale. Let's start to return things to their normal position. So we're going to move the hands out towards the sides of the mat. We're going to tuck the left toes underneath, lift the left leg, and we're going to step the right foot back to join the left in our downward dog. Take a breath in here, and an exhale. And on the inhale, we're going to step the left foot forward between the hands. We're going to drop the right heel down and we're going to cartwheel the hands so that we're in our warrior two position. So same thing on this side. Maybe you need to change the alignment a little bit. Take a big breath in, looking out over the left middle finger. And an exhale, maybe sitting a little lower. Take one more breath in. And on the exhale, let's lower the left forearm to the left thigh. Let's swoop the right arm underneath and up overhead, looking towards the middle finger. Or if you want to, going the full thing, stretching the left hand to the floor, right arm up overhead, your choice. Wherever you're at, take big inhales and big exhales, maybe opening the chest a little bit more towards the ceiling, stacking the shoulders a little extra if you've got space. Breathe in and exhale one last time. And on the inhale, let's bring it all back to our warrior two position again. Let's wiggle the left foot towards the edge of the mat. And let's exhale the hands down inside that left leg. Look back towards the right foot. Let's pivot onto the right toes. And let's do our little rocking forwards and backwards. Maybe dropping down onto the knee if you want to sit with that stretch into the hips. Or if you want to go further, the forearms are good. And if you fancy it, you can lift the left hand away and use it to push the left leg open to the side. So the outer edge of that left foot is against the mat instead. Totally depends on what you want. If you go the full thing with this onto the outer edge of the left foot and it's uncomfortable for some reason, just dial it back. It doesn't need to be exactly the same on both sides. Take a breath in and an exhale. And then let's start to roll things back towards center. Let's bring it back onto the flats of the hands, making sure we've got pretty good balance. Let's tuck the right toes underneath. Let's lift the right knee. And let's swoop the left leg back to join the right one in our downward dog. Take one breath in here. And one exhale. And on the inhale, let's lift the left leg up towards the ceiling, opening out through the hip. Let's bend the left knee and move the leg forward towards the top of the mat. Left knee landing somewhere near the left wrist. Same set of adjustments on this side. You can wiggle the right leg back behind. Maybe you can pull the left foot forward a little bit to accelerate the hip stretch. Take a big breath in, lengthen through the spine. And on the exhale, fold everything forward and down, dropping the head onto the hands if you wish. If that worked first time around, that's fine. You can also just let the head hang in midair. That's fine too. And if you like the rocking from side to side with this, feel free to go with it on the other side as well. Let's take one more inhale. And one more exhale. And on the inhale, let's start to lift out of this. Let's separate the hands out towards the sides of the mat. Let's tuck the right toes underneath, lift the right knee, and let's swoop the left leg back to join the right in our downward dog. Take a big breath in, lengthen through the hips, lifting them towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, let's bend the knees, looking forward, and let's come to our sitting position. So cross legs is fine. We're going to take a little twist to begin with. So once you're sitting cross-legged, we can bring the left hand to the outside of the right leg. We're going to bring the right hand behind us onto the mat. Take a big breath in, lengthen through the spine, and use the exhale to twist to the right-hand side, thinking about what the hips are doing and the ribs are doing, shoulders, neck, and if you fancy it, you can move the head as well and look out over the right shoulder. This isn't the biggest twist in the world, but it is possible to get a little bit further in it if you've got space. Maybe you can use the hand that's on the mat and kind of torque it a little bit extra so that you get extra room to twist. Take big inhales. And on the exhale, pushing a little bit further if you've got space, and if you don't, it doesn't matter. Take one more breath in. And on the exhale, let's release it all back to the center, and let's go to the other side. So right hand to the outside of the left leg, left hand behind us onto the mat. Take a big deep inhale, lengthen through the spine. And on the exhale, start to twist the torso, taking your time, noticing it in the hips and the ribs, so that the shoulders, the neck, and the head are the last thing to move. And if you find you still have space, maybe you can use that left arm, torque a little bit further to get extra stretch from this. Breathe in. And exhale. Take one more inhale. And on the exhale, let's bring it all back around to center. And then maybe let the spine reset itself a little bit. Have a little move from one side to another. And then we're going to pop both legs out in front. So we're going to take our Paschimottanasana. So pointing the toes up towards the ceiling, making sure the bum is as comfy as it can be. Take a big breath in, lift the arms up overhead. And on the exhale, starting to float the torso forward and down, reaching towards the toes. I know that you can reach it anyway. So it's up to you if you want to hang on to the toes or the outsides of the feet, absolutely fine. Makes no difference which choice you make. And we can think about making this whole thing a little bit deeper. So breathe in. And on the exhale, maybe think about tipping the pelvic floor forward a little bit, which might get us a little bit of extra space. There's no need to hold the head upright if you don't want to. You can always let it flop down, look towards your knees. Lengthening through the back of the neck isn't a bad thing. So it's okay to let things fall a little bit. Inhale. And exhale. Take one more breath in. And on the exhale, let's get ready to release the feet from the hands. Inhale to lift them up overhead. And exhale them out to the side. Maybe giving the body a little bit of a wobble. And we'll come for our Janu Shirshasana. So let's bend the right leg, pulling it in towards the torso as tight as we possibly can. And then let the leg fall out to the side, pushing the right sole of the foot against the left thigh. Maybe have a bit of a wiggle to make this comfier. And then take a breath in, arms up overhead. Twist a little bit to the left. And let's fold forward over that left foot. So if you can reach the foot completely with both hands, there's a chance that your torso has tipped slightly towards the side. Mine definitely does. So maybe think about tipping it back towards the center, almost like you could bring the arms back into a parallel to each other. Breathe in. And exhale, maybe sitting a little bit lower. Absolutely feel free to collapse the head down. Let the back of the neck get super long. Maybe draw attention to that back of the neck. Notice how nice it is to have it be open and long instead of all hunched up in front of a computer. Breathe in. And exhale. And on our next inhale, let's start to release the hands from the feet, lifting everything back upright, and exhaling along the sides of the body again. So we're going to bring the right hand behind us onto the mat. We're going to point the left toes, and we're going to push into all the points of the body that are currently against the mat so that we can lift up into our little back bend for wild thing. So stretching the left arm behind us, coming into a little back bend. It's up to you how deep you want the back bend to be. Some people prefer a bit of a straight line. Really lifting with the hips as much as possible, pushing forward with the hip flexors. And on the exhale, starting to sit it back down nice and slowly so that you don't sit in your own foot, which is absolutely horrific as a sensation. And then we're going to swap sides. So drop the right foot out in front and let's pull the left leg in towards the torso, nice and tight against the chest. And then let's drop the leg to the side, rolling the sole of the foot against the inside of the thigh. Have a little bit of a wiggle. And on the inhale, let's lift the arms up overhead, twist a little bit to the right, and let's exhale, fold forward over the right foot. So same thing goes, when you can automatically reach the foot, have a think about the torso and think about whether you need to pull things back towards the center to bring the arms to parallel. Breathe in. And exhale, folding further forward, dropping the head if you wish, totally up to you. You might find one side feels a little bit different to the other. That's fine if it happens. And if you need to dial it back, all good. Breathe in. And exhale. On the next inhale, let's release the hands. Let's lift the arms up overhead. And let's exhale the arms down alongside the body. So we're going to point the left toes, or the right toes, sorry. We're going to bring the left hand behind us onto the mat, taking the same position on this side, pushing into everything that's touching the floor so that we can lift the hips towards the ceiling, maybe throwing the right arm out behind us. And it's totally up to you again, whether you want it to be a big deep back bend or something more straight. Always thinking about pushing forward with the hip flexors, opening out through the front of the body. And on an exhale, starting to sit back down, nice and slowly, avoiding the foot. And then let's pop the left leg out in front. Maybe give everything a little bit of a wiggle. And let's get ready to come to our lying position to take our back bends. So I'm going to stretch the arms out in front, breathe in. And exhale, floating everything down to the mat. Lower back, middle back, upper back to the floor. Let the hands and the head rest. And then maybe have a little bit of a wiggle so that your back feels natural, the way it normally would when you're lying down on a floor, as if we spend a lot of time lying down on floors. And then we'll get ready for our back bend position. So it's totally up to you. We'll do our bridge and wheel. I don't mind whether you want to do 2 of one, 2 of the other, or a mix, that's all fine. If you're taking bridge, let's bring the soles of the feet to the floor, bending the knees towards the ceiling. And inhaling, lifting the hips off the floor towards the ceiling, trying to gain a little bit of extra height, pushing down through the knees and down into the feet, maybe interlacing the fingers beneath the torso, rolling from side to side to pull the shoulder blades in towards one another, which isn't a movement that we've done so far in this class. So it might not feel super friendly today compared to other days, and that's fine. So if you're using this as preparation for full wheel, bring the focus to the hips specifically. Think about lifting a little bit more so that the hips have a sort of an option that they kind of get used to this notion of lifting a little bit higher. You might just introduce the hips to the idea so that they're ready for full wheel. Take a breath in. And on the exhale, let's start to release it all back down, nice and slowly, upper, middle, and lower back to the mat. Maybe taking a couple of windshield wipers, using the bent knees to fall from one side to the other. And we can come in for our second back bend. So if you want to take this as an option for wheel, all good. If you want to take bridge again, that's also fine. Makes no difference to me whatsoever. Whichever variant you're going for, same thing. Let's focus in on the hips as much as possible. So once you're in position, take your breath in, lift the hips towards the ceiling. Amazing. Cool. So you've got more bend in your full wheel than you've actually had, not like, in the last 2 weeks, but since we first started doing this and practicing it on a weekly basis. So it's up to you. If you think you've got the balance to shuffle one of the feet in and lift the other one off the floor, go for it. If the balance isn't there though, don't. It's not worth, toppling over. Take one more inhale. And let's start to lower it all back down. Upper back, middle back, lower back to the floor. Maybe pull the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a bit of a hug. Properly wrap the arms around them. Maybe rock a little bit from one side to another. Trying to focus some of that massaging into the lower spine as much as possible. Then we can drop the feet back down towards the mat and get ready for our Shavasana, our corpse pose. So totally up to you. You can point the toes towards the corners of the mat. You can spread the legs wider if you wish. You can spread the arms like a jellyfish. Makes no difference to me at all. Take up as much space as you want. Make sure the back feels comfortable against the floor. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, let everything get super heavy. Maybe closing the eyes. Maybe rolling the head against the mat a little bit so that you can feel the neck lengthening and moving from one side to another. Take a big inhale. And exhale the practice away. And your next inhale might return you to a more shallow breathing pattern, sort of like the one that we started with. Nice and light. Drawing all the attention inward, ignoring any external noises or signs. Letting the body get heavy. Giving everything a chance to rest for just a few minutes. Let's bring a little movement back into the fingers and toes. Maybe rotate the wrists and the ankles a little bit. Maybe on a breath in, reach the arms up overhead. Take a big long stretch, tips of the fingers to the very tips of the toes. And exhale, roll the knees in towards the chest, wrap the arms around the legs, maybe give yourself a little hug, maybe rock a little bit from one side to another. And then whichever way you choose, totally up to you. You can come back to our cross-legged sitting position on the mat. We'll bring the hands to prayer, center of the chest. We'll inhale the prayer up. And let's exhale it down. A little thanks to the body for all the effort that it can put in, even super early in the morning.